Once upon a time, there was this ring which was in possession by someone known as Mr. Bilbo Baggins. Mr. Baggins found this ring by accident, but this was no ordinary ring. It was a magical one, and many centuries before Bilbo accidentally found it, the ring was forged by a dark lord by the name of Sauron. It was created by him with the evil intention of ruling over all life on Middle-earth. Though Sauron was defeated and killed centuries back, it was only his physical form that was destroyed. His spirit form survived and kept getting stronger over the centuries. And now, to regain his full power, he has started looking for his old ring again, and calamity would fall upon Earth if he gets hold of it. The only solution to kill Sauron completely is to destroy the ring. However, since this is a magical ring, it cannot be destroyed in a normal manner. It is impervious to any damage. The ring was forged by Sauron in the fires of a mountain called Mount Doom, and it is only in its fires that it can be destroyed. So, what is to be done? Simple. Just go to Mount Doom and throw the ring in its lava. The ring will melt by itself and Sauron will be permanently killed. Hence, Mr. Frodo, Bilbo's nephew, along with a few of his friends, did exactly that, and peace was again restored on Middle-earth. Well, it was not that simple. The journey of Bilbo Baggins of taking the ring to Mount Doom and destroying it didn't happen in few days, but it lasted for 13 months. And though the ring was destroyed in the end, it was the journey that mattered and made a difference. In this journey, Frodo and his friends faced numerous evils and resistance, and many lives were lost in the process, and even many new alliances were made, which ultimately resulted into saving Middle-earth. Now, this is just a story, a fiction, and a hugely popular one by the name of Lord of the Rings. But when it comes to various issues in our real life as well, it is the journey that we take which makes a difference. Just looking at the beginning and the end is a very hollow way of looking at things, and the same concept applies when it comes to earnings or making returns out of the stock market as well. It's very easy to get inspired by Warren Buffett and see how much money he has earned by just investing. But what we should really pay attention to is the journey that he went through and the learnings that came out of it. Now, the reason I'm talking about the journey is because of the nature as to how you can make money when you're invested in the stock market or you have bought equity mutual funds. You see, there is a fundamental concept about earning returns from the stock market, and all of us should be aware of the same before we invest in the market and are like, पैसा ही पैसा होगा, पैसे होगा, but कैसे होगा वो पता होना भी जरूरी है. When we talk about making returns from the stock market or equity mutual funds, and when we talk about earning around 12%, 14% or 16% returns every year, what we are basically referring to is the CAGR, which is basically the compounded annual growth rate. Now, we all know about the concept of compound interest, which basically means if the compound interest rate is 10% per year, 100 will become 110 at the end of first year, 110 will become 121 at the end of the second year, so on and so forth. So the base on which that 10% is calculated keeps on increasing every year. But this is not how compounding applies in the stock market. In fact, compounding does not apply in the stock market in the theoretical or any direct manner that we know. It applies in an indicative way. So what do I mean by that? So if I talk about Sensex, which was at 148.25 in 1980 when it started, and today it is at 53,500. So if I calculate the CAGR in this case, which you can using this formula, or there are various websites which you can go and you can directly calculate, the CAGR comes to around 15%. Now, what does this number mean if you invested in the Sensex in 1980? It means that whatever you invested, let's say in this case rupees 100, it would keep compounding every year at the rate of 15%. But here is the important part, it would happen on an average basis. This is the average rate. You're not actually earning 15% return every year. So the 100 that you invested in 1980 may not become 115 in 1981, and again that may not become 132 in 1982. It might even go negative. So let me show you how this actually works. So this is basic Sensex value from 1980 when it was 148 till today when it's 55,397. Now if I calculate its return every year using this formula, so the first year there was a jump of 54%. Let me just drag this down for every year. You can see this is what it generated every year, the return that it's generated every year. Now this is not the CAGR, this is the return that it generated every year compared to the previous year, and the ones which are highlighted in red, those are the years where it generated negative returns. So in 1986 it was -1, 87 -16, 2008 it was -52, the US recession, 2011 -25, so on and so forth. So if I plot a graph for these values over the past 42 years, let's see how it looks like. So this is how it would look like. For the initial 10 to 12 years, it was almost flat. So this is what I meant by the journey which I was talking about. If you're invested from 1980 to 2022 in Sensex, you would have to go through these ups and downs. It would not be an easy climb. So this is what you would have to endure, and you would have to remain invested during these periods where it went down. Now, you might say that over a period of 42 years, the number of times it gave negative returns, it's not that much. But remember, these are annual returns. So if I switch over to monthly returns, so this is the value of Sensex every month from Jan 1980 to July 2022. Because practically if I talk about, it's not that at the end of every year on 31st December, you would be checking what return did my investment generate. In fact, you would do it every month or every few months or even every few weeks. So that's how it happens in real life. So here I've taken the value every month. Now, if I calculate the return on a monthly basis, let's see what it comes out to be. And let me give conditional formatting. So if it's less than 0, it would come in red. So you can see this many times it has generated a negative return on a monthly basis. So you can see here consecutive 5 months it has generated a negative return. If I come to, so you can see here again for consecutive 5 months negative returns. Here from September 94 to April 95, period of almost 7 months, consecutive negative returns. So you can see how it works, right? So this is how it would happen in real life. It would not be that smooth. It's not that you go to Mount Doom, you throw away the magical ring in its lava and Sauron dies all of a sudden. That's just the end. What happens is this in between, so many red figures. Now let me plot a graph for these values from Jan 1980 to July 2022, and you would see how it looks. So you can see this is how it looks. You have to go through this journey if you want to earn a CAGR of 15% from the stock market. This is how it works. This is the rule of stock market, and it's crucial for you to remain invested during these periods when it generated negative return. Now the reason this happens is the way CAGR is calculated. So if you look at the formula of CAGR, you would see it only takes into account the opening and the ending value and the number of years. In fact, also when you go to one of the websites which calculates the CAGR for you, you would see they would only ask you for the opening, the ending value and the number of years. It does not take into account what happens in between those 2 points. It does not take into account the journey which I was talking about at the beginning of this video that one goes through when they are invested in the stock market or they have invested in an equity mutual funds. Because the journey that one goes through of earning a CAGR of say 14 to 15% from the stock market is very different from earning any amount of CAGR from say a fixed deposit. Now, this does not mean that I am asking you not to invest in the stock market or equity mutual funds and go for fixed deposits. Absolutely not. But you should be very well aware about how the process of earning returns from the stock market or mutual fund works in real life. Because if you're invested in these areas, you would definitely get to see negative returns at some point in your life. But the point is, those negatives will definitely turn around after some point in time, and you would get to see positive returns only if you're invested in those times when you got negative returns. So definitely do not withdraw your investments now if you're getting negative returns. Hold on to it, because that is the very nature as to how you earn returns from the stock market or equity mutual funds. The reason we use CAGR is it acts as a standard rate of comparison when you're comparing the returns that is generated by other asset classes, for example gold, real estate or other fixed income securities. That's the reason we use CAGR in case of the stock market. But the way you earn that CAGR is very different, and you should be very well aware about that. So that was it for this video, and until the next one, take care, see you, and bye bye.